Hey, welcome back. And now today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting complex numbers. It's very straightforward, very easy. You just have to remember that we can only add like terms. Okay, what do I mean by that in this context? What I mean is we can only add real parts with other real parts. We can only add imaginary parts with other imaginary parts. If you keep that in mind, if you remember that, this is a piece of cake. Okay, so this is just the general form. Okay, so this is a plus bi. So this is one complex number plus another complex number where c, d, a, and b are all real numbers. Okay, so all you have to do is, again, match up real with real, imaginary with imaginary. So I'm going to take the a plus the c, so it's going to end up being a plus c plus what? Well, now the imaginary parts, it's going to be vi plus di. And that's it. Now that's the general case, so I can't simplify it any farther. We'll do some examples to see how we can simplify it even farther, further using real numbers. Now with subtraction, again, the only thing you have to remember is with the subtraction, you got to remember to distribute the negative, the subtraction sign or the negative across this. You got to use the distributive property here. Okay? Okay, so that's the only thing you have to remember. Okay? So that means there's one more step. So that would mean we would write this as a plus bi, and then it would be minus c, right? Because we're going to distribute the negative, right? We're going to distribute the negative to both pieces, and so this would be minus c minus di. Well, now we can kind of drop these parentheses because it's just plus, and we've already distributed. So now we, again, match real with real. So we're going to take this real part with this real part. So that's going to give us a minus c. That's going to be the real part plus what? It's going to be bi minus di. And so there's the general equation. Okay, so this equals this equals this. Okay, so you can see that, well, we're just going to add the real parts here and then just add the imaginary parts, right? So if you're adding complex number, you're just adding the reals and adding the imaginary parts with the plus sign in the middle. With the subtraction, you're basically just subtracting, right? You're going to subtract the real part, and you're going to subtract the imaginary parts with a plus sign in the middle. And that's how you add and subtract complex numbers. So let's do some examples now. Okay? So here's one example. Okay, so let's say we have this. So now, all we're going to do is add the real parts and add the imaginary parts. Okay, so this is going to be 3 plus 2. So we're going to take the 3. Now I'm going to write this as a plus negative, just so we don't get messed up with signs. So this is going to be the 3 and the 2. So this is going to be 3 plus 2, so we're going to add the imaginary part, plus, and then we're going to add I misspoke. We're going to add the real part, and then we're going to add the imaginary parts. So So this is going to be what? Well, this is going to be negative 4i. I'm going to switch these around and write this as 5i minus 4i. Okay? You don't have to, but I just decided I wanted to. So now we can simplify this even further. So now this is going to give me 5 plus, well, 5i minus 4i. Well, this is a like term, right? These are like terms. So if I have 5i minus 4i, that's just going to give me I. And so my final answer, completely simplified in standard form, is 5 plus I. And that's the answer. Okay, so let's do another example. Let's do negative 5 plus 7i. Minus negative 11 plus 2i. Now, this is subtraction, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract the real parts and subtract the imaginary parts, right? So remember, if you want to just use the properties, you would just distribute the negative sign, okay? So this would give me negative 5, and I'm going to drop the parentheses here since it's, there's nothing wrong with doing that. So I'm going to write this as negative 5 plus 7i, and I'm going to distribute the negative. So this is going to be plus 11, and this is going to become a minus 2i. And now all I have to do is combine like terms. So this is going to be negative 5 minus, or excuse me, plus 11 plus 7i minus 2i. And so now I just simplify it. So this is going to be 6 plus 5i. And that's my final answer. Okay, so let's do one more. So now it says subtract 2 plus 5i from 3 minus 4i. Okay, so that's the last example we'll do. And so reading these problems is very important. It says, subtract 2 plus 5i from 3 minus 4i. So it's going to be, the way I'm going to write this, it's going to be 3 minus 4i minus, because I'm subtracting this from this, right? 2 plus 5i. And so remember, it says subtract 2 plus 5i from 3 minus 4i. So it's going to be this. Okay? So now, just simplify this. So I'm going to subtract these two. So I'm going to skip the distribution part just to show you that you get the same answer. So I'm going to subtract the real part. So this is going to be 3 minus 2 plus, and I'm going to take negative 4i minus negative, now again, or excuse me, hold on a second. Yeah, minus 5i. Right? So I took this because this is a plus negative, right? So I wrote it as negative 4i minus 5i. And so if I simplify this, I get 1, what? Well, now this is going to give me a minus 9i. And so that is the final answer. Have a great day.